of Khan Younis, a strike on a popular cafe there had killed 12 people. Displaced Palestinians had gathered there to use its working generator. Separately, an Israeli airstrike also in Khan Younis on a house killed 2 women and an 8-year-old child. In central Gaza, an Israeli air raid on a shopping plaza killed 9 people and wounded dozens of others. As you can see, a fire engulfed the market and the Al-Nusayrat refugee camp, destroying several stores. Let's bring in a Palestinian journalist, Hani Abu Isheba. He joins us now from Khan Younis in the Gaza Strip. Hani, we know the bombardment has been intensifying there in Khan Younis. Can you tell us what you've been seeing and hearing?
Yes, the past 24 hours has been really intense for Palestinians living in the northern part and the southern part of the Gaza Strip under mass bombardment. This is the part in which the Israeli military ordered Palestinians from the northern Gaza to evacuate to only find themselves under mass bombardment. So late hours of last night at about 11 o'clock, a busy street in the Nusayrat refugee camp. This street is a thriving market for the people of Nusayrat camp, and because of the people who evacuated to that area, it became more busy and crowded. People were lining up at one of the popular food restaurants buying their dinner, where it was targeted, leaving tens of casualties. Initial reports talk about more than 10 were killed at the spot. One of those victims is a Dutch national, a woman carrying the Dutch nationality, killed in the attack on a Nusayrat market in Nusayrat camp in the middle areas of the Gaza Strip. It's interesting to know that this lady, since the beginning of this airstrike campaign, has been going forth and back to the Rafah crossing, trying to leave, but could not. Her last attempt was yesterday when the humanitarian convoy was allowed to enter the Palestinian side, but she could not make it out of Gaza, and later on that night she was killed in the attack. Another major attack took place in the city of Khan Younis, a very crowded cafe, and the reason people went to that cafe, it's because it had a little bit of electricity, a small power generator. So everybody thought that they could charge their phones, get their power banks full, or get a little bit of internet just to see what's going on, as people have been blacked out for the past 15 days of these miserable events.
Hani, you mentioned the humanitarian convoy there. We know that these 28 trucks made it into the Gaza Strip. It's obviously nowhere near enough, but it's hopefully a start. Do we know where these supplies have now ended up?
Okay. Well, we just learned half an hour ago that those 20 trucks who were allowed into the Gaza Strip are still outside the Palestinian gate, just a few meters away from the Palestinian gates, and were not allowed to move away from the Rafah crossing. So they are still there, and now the intention, the plan was these 20 trucks would move from the Rafah crossing, enter Gaza, all the way to Deir Balah city, to a designated United Nations warehouse. It's important to mention that these humanitarian aid are only intended for the southern part of the Gaza Strip. None of these humanitarian aid is going to the northern part or Gaza Governorate. And it's also important to point out that these are only medical supplies and food supplies. There's no fuel supplies in this humanitarian convoy, which makes it very difficult for hospitals to sustain themselves and to operate, given the necessary health services needed for the large influx of casualties in the Gaza Strip.
Make sure to subscribe to a channel to the latest news from RDZ World News.